What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be giving you my professional gaming opinion on Wattam. Wattam is a strange game. It's by a developer called Phenomena, but more importantly, it's the autorial project of Keita Takahashi. Who's that, you might well ask? Oh, it's only the guy who made Katamari. Like all organisms with a pulse, I love Katamari. In fact, this point was recorded for posterity with the 2005 iteration of the franchise, We Love Katamari. So, obviously I'm going to be interested in whatever the beautiful brain that's behind it could concoct. At this point, let us pause for a moment's silence in memory of Glitch, the greatest MMO ever, which was also Keita Takahashi's creation. Anyway, back to Wattam. It's weird, because Takahashi seems to have moved into this very indie space, when I feel like anyone who can make the claim, I made Katamari, should really have investors tripping over themselves to fund whatever they want to create. But no, it's launched as an Epic Game Store exclusive through the indie publisher Annapurna Interactive, which means it will almost certainly never receive the attention it should be capable of. But what is it? It's actually quite hard to say. You can only presume it's just what's going on in Takahashi's head most of the time, distilled into a video game format. It initially comes across mostly as a children's toy, and it would honestly probably serve that role incredibly comfortably. You play as the mayor, this little green dude with a hat. You start out in an empty world, where everything has been lost, and you spend your time rediscovering it all again and making friends with it all again, pretty much just by playing with it. Dance around a seed to grow it into a tree, climb on top of each other until you're as tall as a giant bowling pin, eat your friends and turn them into poop, and then flush those poops down the toilet to polish the turds gold. Yep, that is the thing that happens. It could have been left as a puzzle game. It could have been left to the player to figure out how the characters interact with each other and what different mechanics are available, but actually, truly rare are the moments where it's not explicitly beating you around the head, telling you what to do. The game feels almost afraid to let you try and figure anything out, which is kind of why I say it feels like a children's toy. A new problem is presented to the mayor, and almost immediately afterwards, a speech bubble pops up, just to tell you how to solve the problem. In fact, the few moments where the game deviates from this loop are the moments where the game feels most memorable. There's a kind of mini pseudo-boss fight partway through, which was one of the only times I ever had to stop and figure out what I needed to do. There's snippets of narrative, glimpsed briefly, and only once per chapter, which kind of hint at some of the depth the game could have had, before you're immediately taken straight back to bouncing colourfully and mindlessly around the islands with your friends. The ending delivers a little bit of an emotional punch. It's one of the few bits in the game that made me say, oh, that's good. And it gave me just the merest pause for thought as to whether the game might not specifically be intended for kids after all. The choice to have children, or at least people who sound a lot like children, voicing all of the characters in the game, is clearly intended to add to the feeling of childlike glee that the game is going for. But to me it feels a touch creepy though. Two of the characters have a full-on mustache, and one is quite evidently an old man, and giving them children's voices like the rest of the characters just feels a bit wrong. But then on the other hand, giving every one of the game's extensive character roster a profile with a funny description of how they're going to be is a very charming bit of Katamari-esque detail. All in all, Wattam has its share of both hits and misses, and if I'm honest, probably more misses than hits, but the hits it has are honestly pretty great ones. I don't think it has the makings of a universally loved cult classic like Katamari before it, but if you're looking for something that's different to anything else out there, this is it. I think some folks might be put off by the £16 asking price, especially as it's quite a short game, clocking in at about 4 hours long, but when it's inevitably on sale, picking it up should be a no-brainer, just to be able to say you had the experience. Yeah!